7:40, 20 minutes moving up to 8 o'clock. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. In this segment, we focus on a U.S. television crew who have been in Trinidad and Tobago for a couple of months, shooting a 30-minute documentary on many of the various aspects of our country's economy. Our guests are Elliot Wood from Sydney, Australia, Pierce Jarrett from London, Great Britain, and from Louisiana, New Orleans, Thomas Cochran. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
All right, let me get so Pierce is on my extreme right. Elliot is right here.
Yes.
And right, I have the names right now. Let's start with Elliot. Elliot, you were here before, and a lot of it's focused on promoting Trinidad and Tobago's diversified economy for possible investors outside.
Correct.
Let's talk about how your last 4 months went shooting in Trinidad and Tobago,
right.
And what that schedule was like for you.
Well, basically, we did a program last year, and we're invited back. Last year was heavily focused on energy. So this year, what we've been really focusing on is as the country's doing, is diversification. So meeting with medical, meeting with education, showing health tourism aspects, and so forth. So everything's been going along very well. I'm almost Trinidadian, being here
I
for
can
4 months.
imagine. They should have you shoot through Carnival. That's the only sad thing.
Right. That's upsetting, actually.
But they could probably bring you back. Thomas Cochran, you're from Louisiana, New Orleans?
Originally, yeah.
You look very broadcaster-like. Were you the ones doing the interview?
I have, actually. I had the pleasure to interview your Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Dukran, fine gentleman, and he outlined several of the issues that, of course, are important both to Trinidad leading up to where you are, but also going forward in terms of your relationship to the rest of the Caribbean, but the rest of the world.
And Mr. Pierce, you're from London, young man. What's it like? How much of a challenge is it shooting for months to edit for minutes? I mean, you have to fit in 7 pillars of diversification. You have to fit in some background context as to where the economy came from and where it wants to go, medical, tourism, ICT, etc. You have to showcase the knowledge economy and possibilities for investors. How do you do all that in 30 minutes?
To be completely honest with you, it is a monumental challenge. However, we do have a lot of help in the sense of Ambassador Parsons allowed us to get in here in the first place, and then we've also been supported heavily by different ministers of government as well. So fitting quite a lot in such a short amount of time is, as I said, is a bit of a challenge, but we've got a lot of help to do it. One
of the strengths of Trinidad and Tobago is diversity. Our diversity, our ethnic diversity, our religious diversity, our economic diversity. Is it difficult mixing the business aspect of it and trying to remain as focused on business possibilities and also trying to get a feel for the spirit of the country? Is that also very important?
It is important, and I believe all three of us do that quite well. We find that Trinidad and Tobagonians are very, very open, very hospitable. And that's what we love to do, because you don't want to come into a country, shoot 30 minutes and get out without experiencing the culture and the people around it. And we found ourselves very welcome here. So it's a good part.
What was the mandate given to you?
Sorry?
The mandate given to you in terms of this production. What did they say they want to do overall?
The Trinidadians?
Yeah. The client. The government, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Each minister we meet with, whether it be Minister Khan of Health or Minister Cadiz of Transport, give us an outline on what they'd like their sector to be showcased in. And then they direct us to public and private companies. So it is a public-private 30-minute documentary to showcase what each aspect of each sector they would like to promote.
And Thomas Cochran, what was most challenging for you?
Perhaps most challenging for me, coming from the U.S., when, of course, we want things done yesterday, was the
pace.
Sometimes
be honest.
The concept of Trini time was difficult, but one thing I've learned, though, that can also be a strength, only because I think that the quality of life and how happy, truly, as you had said, people are living and working here. As my colleague said, we've just felt right at home, and I've learned the concept of liming, and I think I use that term correctly. But it's just a gorgeous country, and you've really have something very special here.
And when you all no doubt did tons of interviews and tons of footage, Who gets to edit all this good stuff? Mr. Jarrett, who gets to edit all this?
Well, it's not going to be me. That would take
Yeah.
way too long. We have back offices in different regions. So I think for this one, the camera crew is going to fly in about 2 weeks as soon as we leave, film out the rest of the stuff with the rest of the people we've been working with, and then it'll be edited by head office.
And who gets the final say? I guess you take it to the client gets to see it.
Yes.
The client says, no, I like this, I don't like this,
Exactly.
come back, shoot, reshoot, re-edit.
Exactly.
Is that the process?
Yeah, it goes through approval.
Well, you've done this before because you've been called back after your first bit of
Right.
work. What was the first bit of work on?
Actually, we met a few ministers, Minister Hawaii, Minister Khan, and then they directed us to the health authorities, also the big banks, central bank, of course.
Yeah.
So we go through those stages and then come back and do the last few ministers that we're looking to showcase.
How important the consideration is the target? Because certainly it's not made for Trinidadians, it's made for international possible investors, and considering what they want and what they've responded to in the past, possibly through your company.
Well, it is very important, understanding the targeted demographic of our viewer, which is, as you said, very investment-minded individuals, anywhere from investment banks in New York, obviously, and over the past 15 years, working specifically with governments to do very much what we're doing with Trinidad and Tobago. We built up anywhere from presidents, prime ministers, CEOs of corporations all over the world. So we have to keep that in mind, that any content that we are covering is relevant to them because they're looking to get ahead of the curve in different parts of the world. And we really have been able to showcase some fantastic opportunity, both public and private, for that here in Trinidad.
Young Pierce Jarrett, what surprised you most about this country?
Surprised me the most? The heat. Put it bluntly, back at home is probably around 2 degrees. When I first came here, I thought, you know, I'm going to do a new start, going to keep fit. So I decided to go for a run around the savannah.
Didn't work out.
Did not work out, so I didn't do that again.
All
Can
right.
I add to that?
Yeah.
Bacon Shark.
Bacon Shark surprised you most?
Surprised me, yes.
Okay. And you're also paying tribute to Ambassador Dr. Neil Parson.
Absolutely.
Yes.
As part of this. What's that going to look like in terms of his work as he's based in Washington, D.C. and
Right.
spreading the gospel of Trinidad and Tobago's oasis of investment possibility?
Definitely. I'm in contact with him weekly, and he's been very helpful as far as facilitating different meetings. But also, we like, depending on when he comes to Trinidad, is actually have him as a speakership role in the program as well, as his visions are along with the government, of course, but to showcase what we're looking to showcase as well. So he's been very helpful, and we would love to have him on the program.
And finally, what's the deadline date for delivery?
First quarter of next year.
First quarter of next year.
Yes.
So you got a lot of editing to do. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing it. We'll be talking to Elliot Wood, P.S. Jarrett, and Thomas Cochran here in Trinidad and Tobago television film crew to do a documentary on investment possibility.